Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we plunge headfirst into a stack of insights, cutting through the noise to get you straight to the good stuff. I don't know about you, but in our modern world, it's easy to feel that familiar pinch. Maybe you're looking at your bank account and wondering, where did all my hard-earned money actually go? Or perhaps those big financial goals, that dream vacation, a down payment on a home, or even just building a solid emergency fund, they feel perpetually out of reach. We often fall into this trap of thinking, if I just had more money, all my problems would disappear. But what if the real secret, the true lever for financial peace and empowerment, isn't about making more, but about spending smarter?
That's precisely where our deep dive begins today. And what's truly fascinating and often misunderstood is how our source positions frugality. It's not about deprivation, not about a lack, but actually a deliberate and proactive choice for a life of intentional abundance. It's a really powerful reframing, shifting your perspective from just cutting costs to strategically building the life you truly desire.
And that reframing is absolutely key. We are taking a comprehensive look today at frugal living tips that work. Our source material absolutely redefines what it means to live frugally. And for you, our learner, who's maybe seeking actionable strategies without getting lost in an overwhelming sea of information, this deep dive is your personal shortcut. Think of it as your curated guide, cutting through the noise and getting straight to the most impactful strategies that can genuinely transform your financial landscape. We're not just summarizing here. We're actively unpacking core principles and practical applications, making what can often feel like dense, intimidating financial topics engaging, accessible, and really easy to understand.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about building a foundational understanding, really grasping the why before we even dive into the how. This ensures that these practices aren't just, temporary fixes you try for a month and then forget, but rather sustainable, empowering lifestyle shifts that will serve you for years and years to come.
Absolutely. So what's our journey looking like today? We're going to kick things off by directly challenging some common and frankly often damaging misconceptions about frugality, really digging into the mindset shift that makes all the difference. Then we'll dive into budgeting basics, not the scary restrictive kind, oh no, but methods that genuinely stick and provide a clear roadmap for your money. And finally, we'll tackle one of the biggest household expenses for most of us, food. We'll show you how to eat smarter, healthier, and much more affordably, all without sacrificing quality or, the joy of eating. It's going to be a transformative discussion. Okay, let's unpack this right from the start, because for so many people, the moment they hear the word frugal, their minds immediately jump to cheap. Like instantly. They conjure these images, right? Someone clipping every single coupon, never daring to spend a dime on anything fun, always fixated on finding the absolute rock bottom price, no matter the quality or the effort involved. But our source makes a really, really crucial distinction here, a line in the sand between cheap and frugal. And it's far more profound than just price tags, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And understanding this distinction is really the cornerstone of truly effective frugal living. It's foundational. Our source clearly defines cheapness as an approach solely focused on minimizing the immediate cost. It's all about spending as little as possible right now, often without really considering the long-term implications. Think about it this way. Buying a super low-quality item, whether it's, say, clothing, furniture, or even a tool, you might feel that momentary win, right? Because you saved a few dollars up front. But then inevitably it breaks quickly, forcing you to replace it much sooner than you expected. Not only does this lead to more expenses over time, but it also creates frustration and, frankly, generates more waste. This approach, ironically, can often be the more expensive path in the long run. It's reactive, it's short-sighted.
Yeah, so it's that really frustrating cycle of constantly having to replace things because you chase the rock bottom price rather than thinking about, the longevity, the durability, or even the ethics behind it. It's like buying disposable versions of things that really should last.
Precisely. Frugality, in stark contrast, is about getting the best value for your money. It's about spending wisely with foresight and intention. A truly frugal person considers the long-term benefits, the durability, the efficiency, and sometimes, yes, even investing a bit more upfront to save significantly over the life of the product or service. Our source provides a fantastic, simple example, choosing a durable, high-quality pair of shoes. A cheap pair might cost, say, $20 and fall apart in 3 months, requiring frequent replacement. total pain. A frugal person, though, might spend $100 on a well-made pair, knowing they'll likely last for several years, provide better comfort and support, and therefore cost far less per wear over time. This approach makes you ask an important question, doesn't it? Are you simply trying to save a dollar today, or are you strategically building for tomorrow? Are you making choices that truly support your long-term goals and values? Frugal living emphasizes value, sustainability, and mindfulness.
That's such a massive distinction, and it completely shifts the perspective.
Wow. It's not just about saving a penny today, it's about making thoughtful, strategic choices that genuinely serve your long-term goals and a more intentional life. And speaking of long-term goals and, greater purpose, here's where it truly gets captivating. Our source argues that living frugally doesn't just benefit your bank account, it actually frees you in multiple profound ways. It expands way beyond mere finances, radiating into four powerful dimensions of freedom that can genuinely transform your life.
It's an incredible revelation, really. The benefits truly extend far beyond just monetary savings, touching these core aspects of our well-being. Firstly, and most obviously, there's financial freedom. This is the most visible and direct benefit, right? More savings, less debt, and a clear path toward eventual financial independence. When you have fewer financial obligations and more money working for you, you naturally gain more choices in how you live your life. You're no longer necessarily tied to a specific job or income level out of sheer necessity. That creates a powerful sense of agency over your future, which then creates this beautiful cascade right into time freedom, doesn't it? It just flows naturally. If you're spending less, carrying less debt, maybe you have a healthier financial cushion, well, you might find you don't need to work as many hours. Or perhaps you can choose a job that pays a little less but is infinitely more fulfilling because your baseline expenses are lower. Imagine having a whole extra day a week back just because your financial demands are reduced. I mean, wow, that frees up precious time for your passions, for learning new skills, for nurturing relationships, for hobbies, or simply for much-needed rest and rejuvenation. That's a profound impact.
It absolutely is. And that reduction in financial pressure, that lifting of the weight, significantly contributes to what our source calls emotional freedom. Think about the chronic stress, the low-level anxiety so many people carry just due to financial worries. It's pervasive. When you reduce that burden, your mental health almost immediately improves. It's quite remarkable. You feel less overwhelmed by looming bills, more secure in your future, and profoundly more empowered to make life choices that truly align with your deepest values, rather than feeling trapped or dictated by monetary necessity. Our source strongly implies that reducing financial worry is a direct, undeniable path to enhanced psychological well-being and, honestly, a lighter spirit. This sense of security and control is incredibly liberating.
And then, almost as a natural get product, which is fascinating, there's environmental freedom. It's not often the primary goal when people start thinking about frugality, but it's an undeniable, powerful side benefit. Frugal choices inherently, almost accidentally, align with eco-conscious living. It's built in. When you're focused on value and durability, you naturally reduce your overall consumption. Makes sense. You reuse items rather than constantly buying new. You invest in quality products that last longer, lessening your personal environmental footprint. It really reframes frugality from what many perceive as this restrictive, painful practice to an empowering, ethical philosophy. It shifts our collective focus, hopefully, from mindless consumerism to genuine, sustainable contentment. So, okay, we've established that frugality offers this incredible pathway to freedom, multiple kinds of freedom. But if it's so beneficial, why is it so incredibly hard for so many of us to save, to be intentionally frugal? Why do we often feel this invisible pull towards spending, even when we know better? Our source really digs into the psychology of spending and saving, and it's quite eye-opening to realize how our basic human wiring often works against us when it comes to financial prudence.
Yeah, it's a battle against our own biology in many ways, because humans are not naturally inclined to save for some distant future. It's not how we evolved. Evolutionarily, our ancestors lived in environments where resources were often scarce and uncertain. Survival was day to day. So immediate consumption and gratification made a lot of sense for survival back then. Eat it now because it might not be there tomorrow. Simple as that. But today, those ancient instincts, deeply embedded in our DNA, often lead us completely astray in a world of abundant, immediate choices. It's a mismatch. For instance, instant gratification is a colossal factor. Huge. We are hardwired on a really primal level to prefer immediate rewards over future gains. This is precisely why buying that new gadget, ordering takeout, or making an impulse purchase feels good right now. It gives you that immediate hit of dopamine. Even if that immediate pleasure jeopardizes a critical long-term financial goal like saving for a down payment or your kid's education or retirement, the immediate tangible pleasure often completely overrides the distant abstract benefit. It's powerful.
That instant hit, yeah, that little burst of dopamine, it's a powerful, almost addictive force, isn't it?
Huh.
It can feel almost impossible to resist in the moment.
It truly is. And compounding that, we face immense social pressure and comparison. It's relentless. In our hyper-connected world, constantly bombarded by perfectly curated images on social media and, pervasive consumer culture, it's incredibly easy to fall into the keeping up with the Joneses trap. We see what others appear to have, the new car, the exotic vacation, the designer clothes, and we feel this internal, often subconscious pressure to match it. This leads to unnecessary spending on things we may not even genuinely want or need, simply to maintain some kind of perceived social status.
And that often leads directly to emotional spending. And
Yeah.
we've all been there, myself included, right? Using shopping as a coping mechanism for stress, sadness, boredom, or even celebration sometimes. It feels like a temporary balm for deeper emotional needs. But it almost always leaves you with less money and often more guilt or buyer's remorse once that initial high fades away.
Absolutely. It's a short-term fix with definite long-term consequences. And finally, cognitive biases play a significant, often invisible role in all this. We frequently underestimate our expenses or overestimate our income, operating under these overly optimistic assumptions that just don't align with reality. Biases like anchoring, where we rely too heavily on the first piece of information presented, like an original higher price, or the sunk cost fallacy, where we continue to invest in something because of past investments, even if it's no longer logical. Well, these can skew our financial decision-making significantly without us even realizing it. Recognizing these inherent patterns and psychological forces, as our source points out, is not about self-blame at all. It's about gaining crucial self-awareness. This awareness is the first indispensable step for you to begin overcoming these mental pitfalls through mindfulness, strategic planning, and consistent practice.
Okay, so we understand the why behind our often unfrugal spending habits. We're acknowledging those deep-seated psychological forces working against us. Now, the big question, how do we actually shift gears? How do we retrain our brains, consciously build new habits, and create a truly frugal mindset? Our source provides an incredibly clear and actionable roadmap broken down into 5 distinct steps.
Right. This is where the intentional, transformative work truly begins. The first, and arguably the most crucial step, is to define your why. Every significant lifestyle shift, every sustainable change needs a powerful, deeply personal purpose. Why do you want to live more frugally? Is it to aggressively get out of crippling debt, maybe save for that dream house, that college education, or an epic sabbatical? Perhaps it's for early retirement, or travel the world, or finally launch your own business. Whatever it is, define your goal with absolute clarity and make it tangible. Write it down, create a vision board, make it visible somehow. This why defines the ultimate destination of your frugal journey, making every strategic choice purposeful. And more importantly, it becomes your unwavering motivation when challenges inevitably arise and temptation calls.
That makes so much sense. It's not just about saving money as some abstract concept. It's about connecting that action to what that money will genuinely do for you, what kind of life it will unlock.
Exactly. Without a compelling why, it's just too easy to lose steam. The second step, then, is to conduct a spending audit. Now, this requires an honest, often uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary, no-hold-barred look at where your money has actually gone over the past, say, 3 to 6 months. Dive into your bank statements, your credit card bills, your transaction histories. Really look at them. Highlight any areas where spending didn't bring you long-term happiness or value or align with that why you just defined. Are you paying for unused subscriptions that just auto-renew month after month? Are you indulging in mindless online shopping out of boredom? Maybe dining out or ordering takeout far more often than you realized or intended. This process of rigorous awareness, while potentially confronting, truly is the first indispensable step to meaningful, lasting change. You simply cannot fix what you don't acknowledge.
Yeah, that can definitely be an uncomfortable mirror to hold up, but it's an absolutely necessary one to see the reality. Okay, then the third step.
The third step is to reframe sacrifice as strategy. This is a really powerful psychological reframe. Instead of perceiving frugal choices as giving something up, a loss, a restriction, a deprivation, Consciously reframe them in your mind as making a strategic, empowered move towards a better, more aligned life. For example, choosing not to eat out tonight might initially feel like a loss of convenience or fun, but when you actively reframe it as a strategic step towards becoming debt-free or saving for that dream vacation or building your emergency fund, well, it completely transforms the feeling. It shifts from one of scarcity to one of empowerment, intentional progress, and self-control. It's all about focusing on the gain, not the perceived loss.
That's a complete shift in perspective, focusing on the ultimate benefit. And that, I imagine, makes it much easier to stick to over time. What's the fourth step?
The fourth step is to celebrate progress, not perfection. This is vital. It's so important to acknowledge that frugality, like any significant lifestyle change, is a journey. It has inevitable ups and downs. You will undoubtedly make mistakes sometimes, you'll splurge occasionally, or find yourself a bit off track. And you know what? That is perfectly okay. What truly matters is consistent improvement and resilience. Celebrate those small wins with genuine enthusiasm. Packing your lunch 3 days in a row. Awesome. Skipping an impulse buy at the grocery store? Fantastic. Saving your first $100 towards a specific goal? That's huge. These small victories build momentum, they reinforce positive behavior, and they keep you motivated. It's about building consistent progress, not about demanding flawless execution from day one. Be kind to yourself.
That's a huge relief to hear, honestly, because who can be perfect all the time? Nobody. And a final fifth step.
The fifth step is to surround yourself with like-minded people. Social support is an incredibly powerful, often underestimated factor for any significant behavioral change. It really matters. Actively seek out and engage with communities who are on a similar path to yours. Follow inspiring frugal living blogs or content creators. Join relevant online communities or maybe Facebook groups. Or, hey, listen to podcasts like this one. When you surround yourself with others who share your goals and values, it becomes significantly easier to stay focused, inspired, and motivated. You'll find a supportive network for sharing tips, celebrating successes together, and navigating challenges collectively. It reinforces your chosen path and makes it feel less lonely.
Right. Beyond those big fundamental mindset shifts, what about the small, almost microscopic daily actions, the things that truly cement this mindset and transform it into a consistent way of living? What are the micro habits that really add up over time?
That's a great question because small actions, consistently applied, absolutely compound over time. They make a frugal life feel much more natural and effortless when it becomes truly part of your daily routine. Our source highlights several of these. This includes things like tracking your expenses daily, which might sound tedious at first, but it keeps you acutely aware of where every dollar is going, preventing those invisible leaks. Another crucial one is to simply pause before any purchase, no matter how small it seems. Just take a breath. Ask yourself, do I truly need this? Is there a cheaper or more sustainable alternative? Does this purchase genuinely align with my deeper why? End quote. That simple moment of intentional reflection can derail countless impulse buys. It's surprisingly effective.
That pause button is essential, isn't it? It just interrupts that immediate impulse and gives your rational brain a chance to catch up.
Exactly. Also, planning your meals weekly is a daily frugal habit that pays immense dividends, which we'll definitely delve into more in our upcoming food section. It's huge. Then there's the simple yet powerful habit of using what you already have before buying more. Seriously? Check your closets, your pantry, your craft supplies, your household items first. And of course, DIY whenever possible, from minor home repairs you can learn on YouTube to making your own simple cleaning products. Each of these seemingly small actions, as our source meticulously highlights, can accumulate to thousands, literally thousands of dollars in savings annually, not to mention the immense satisfaction and valuable skill building they provide along the way.
Those little things really do add up exponentially. But sometimes those impulses, those urges to spend, they feel so incredibly strong, almost automatic. How do we get a handle on those moments of weakness?
Yeah, that's where identifying your specific spending triggers comes into play. You really cannot effectively change what you do not truly understand about yourself. Be a detective in your own life. Do you find yourself mindlessly browsing and shopping online when you're bored, stressed, or feeling a bit down? Do you tend to spend more when you're with certain friends or in specific social situations where there's maybe an unspoken pressure to keep up? Does payday make you feel momentarily invincible, leading to an immediate splurge you later regret? Or do you tend to overspend during certain seasons, holidays, or those tempting sales events? This is a critical insight for you. Self-awareness of your unique triggers allows for highly targeted preventative strategies. Once you know your triggers, you can proactively put specific counter strategies in place, like having a go-to non-spending activity for boredom, setting a specific budget before social outings, or intentionally delaying online purchases for 24 hours to cool off.
So it's about anticipating and preempting those moments where you know you're vulnerable. Smart. And finally, the source talks about the profound role of gratitude in cultivating a frugal mindset. How does that fit into all of this? Seems a bit different.
Gratitude is a true game changer. It sounds soft, maybe, but it fundamentally transforms how we perceive our world and our possessions. It really does. When we consciously and consistently focus on what we already have, our health, our loving relationships, the roof over our heads, or existing belongings, the simple pleasures of life we naturally crave less. It just happens. Practicing gratitude makes us significantly less susceptible to the constant barrage of advertising, the subtle pressures of consumerism, and that endless pursuit of more, more, more. Instead, it fosters a deep sense of contentment with our current lifestyle and cultivates a far more mindful, deliberate approach to any purchases we do make. Our source argues that practicing gratitude is arguably the most powerful antidote to the relentless push of advertising and consumerism that bombards us daily. Simple practices like keeping a gratitude journal and maybe just listing 3 things you genuinely appreciate each day can, over time, help you find immense joy in simplicity. And that is a foundational cornerstone of true frugality. It also helps to effortlessly debunk some common myths about frugality, like the myth that frugal people are inherently poor. Many wealthy individuals actively practice and credit frugal habits for their success, or that you have to deprive yourself all the time. Frugality is about maximizing joy and value, not misery, or that it's simply too much work. Like any habit, it becomes easier and more intuitive with consistent practice. These small, daily practices, combined with those larger mindset shifts, lead to the profound long-term benefits. Accumulated savings, significantly fewer financial emergencies, more freedom in your life, and the passing of strong, intentional values to your children. Ultimately, you realize you don't need more things to truly live more.
Wow, what an incredible first section. Truly redefining frugality from the ground up. So the mindset is set. We get it. We understand what frugality really means, and we're ready to embrace that intentional abundance. Now, how do we translate that powerful mindset into concrete, actionable steps? How do we make it real? Our source calls budgeting the method. It's the indispensable roadmap that tells your money exactly where to go, instead of leaving you wondering month after month where it mysteriously disappeared to. But let's be honest, for many, the word budgeting itself conjures up feelings of restriction, complication, or just plain daunting busy work. It's got a bad rap. But our deep dive demystifies it completely. So let's get right to it. Why does budgeting matter so profoundly, and why do so many of us resist it?
You've hit on a critical point there. It's absolutely true. Budgeting is often seen through this negative lens associated with scarcity or financial struggle. But a budget, when approached correctly, is far, far more than a mere spreadsheet of numbers. It's not just about math. It's a living, breathing reflection of your values, your priorities, and your aspirations. It really is. It is the essential mechanism that transforms your frugal intentions into concrete, powerful actions. It's the bridge. Without a clear budget, it's remarkably easy to fall into endless cycles of overspending, anxiety, and guilt. We've all been there. With it, though, you gain profound clarity about your financial picture, precise control over your resources, and unwavering confidence in your ability to achieve your goals. It empowers you to understand precisely where every dollar goes, allowing you to strategically allocate funds according to your most important goals, proactively avoid accumulating unnecessary debt, save and invest with real intention, and ultimately experience invaluable peace of mind. It's truly about being the boss of your money, not its bewildered observer.
And I think a lot of us are genuinely held back by these deeply ingrained common myths about budgeting, aren't we? Things like, oh, budgeting is only for people who are bad with money, or the equally pervasive idea that budgets are just too restrictive and they suck all the fun out of life.
Absolutely. These misconceptions are powerful psychological barriers that prevent countless people from even beginning. They're very effective at stopping us. Our source directly, and I think compellingly, addresses each of these myths head-on. The idea that budgeting is only for people who are bad with money. Completely false. In fact, it's a key tool for anyone wanting to build and grow their wealth, no matter their current income level or financial savvy. Highly successful individuals budget meticulously. It's a wealth-building tool. The myth that budgets are too restrictive. Also a misdirection. A well-crafted budget actually gives you more freedom by ensuring you're intentionally spending on what truly matters to you, while helping you cut out the wasteful, non-essential spending that just drains your funds without adding value. And for those who think, well, I don't earn enough to budget, the reality is budgeting is especially important for those with limited income. It helps every precious dollar stretch further and achieve maximum impact. Finally, the concern that it's just too time-consuming is often based on outdated ideas. Once you set it up, most modern budgeting methods take only a few minutes per day or maybe per week to maintain. It's not that bad. This really raises an important question for you, the listener. Are you truly letting these pervasive myths hold you back from embracing a genuinely powerful tool that could absolutely revolutionize your financial life?
That's a great challenge and a really necessary one. So for you, our learner, who's maybe ready to shed those myths and take control, this is precisely how you start to build that indispensable financial roadmap. Let's unpack this step by step. Our source gives us a practical, easy-to-follow guide to creating a budget that actually sticks, tailored to your real life, not some fantasy.
Okay. The process, when broken down, is remarkably straightforward and logical. Doesn't have to be scary. The first step is simply to know your net income. This isn't just your gross salary on paper. It means identifying your actual take-home pay from all your sources after taxes and deductions are taken out. So your salary, yes, but also any freelance income, government benefits, maybe child support, or any side hustles you've got going. Add it all up. If your income varies significantly from month to month, which is common for freelancers or gig workers, the critical key here is to average your income over the last 3 to 6 months. That gives you a consistent, realistic figure that you can confidently base your budget on. This provides your precise financial baseline, what you truly have to work with each month.
Got it. So a clear, honest picture of what's actually coming in. Then what about what's actually going out? That seems like the tricky part.
That's the second crucial step, and yeah, often the most revealing one. Track your spending. Before you can effectively budget or make any changes, you absolutely must know with precision where your money is currently going. No guessing allowed. For at least 30 days, a full month is ideal. Make a conscious effort to monitor every single expense, every coffee, every pack of gum. You can do this with a simple pen and notebook if you like old school. A digital spreadsheet in Excel or Google Sheets works great. Or use one of the popular and user-friendly budgeting apps like Y&A, Mint, or Every Dollar. Lots of options. The most important part, regardless of the tool, is to categorize these expenses thoughtfully. Housing, rent, mortgage, utilities, transportation, fuel, insurance, maintenance, public transport, food, groceries, dining out, coffee, debt payments, savings and investments, entertainment, healthcare, and maybe a general miscellaneous category for everything else that doesn't fit neatly. This detailed snapshot, as our source meticulously emphasizes, is your undeniable baseline. It reveals exactly where your money actually goes and, crucially, helps you identify those spending leaks we talked about earlier. The stuff you didn't even realize you were spending on.
That detailed tracking really strips away any illusions and reveals the raw truth, doesn't it? It's where you often find those oops moments, those surprises. Okay, once you have that incredibly clear picture, that baseline data, then what's the next logical step?
Once you have that data, the third step is to set realistic financial goals. Budgeting is infinitely more effective and, frankly, far more motivating when it's driven by a compelling purpose. You need that why again. You need to clearly define what you're genuinely working towards with all this effort. These goals can span different time frames. Short term, like maybe building a $1,000 emergency fund or aggressively paying off a specific high-interest credit card debt. Midterm goals could be things like saving for a new car, a wedding, a significant vacation, or maybe going back to school. And then long term, like buying a home, planning comfortably for retirement, or maybe even achieving full financial independence down the road. Assign specific dollar amounts and realistic timelines to these goals so they become concrete, measurable, and truly trackable. This gives your budget clear direction, it transforms abstract numbers on a page into tangible aspirations, and it keeps you powerfully motivated through every step of the journey. It makes it meaningful.
So it's not just a sterile list of numbers on a spreadsheet. It's intimately connected to your deepest aspirations and dreams. That makes it feel much more alive, much more worth doing. And finally, the last crucial step in this setup process.
The fourth step is to choose a budgeting method. Now, this is where many people get stuck believing there's one perfect method they must use or that they have to pick the right one. The reality, as our source highlights so well, is that there isn't a single best method that fits everyone. The ideal one is simply the one you will actually stick with, the one that fits your personality, your lifestyle, and your current financial situation. Our source outlines several effective and widely used systems, allowing you the flexibility to pick one that truly aligns with who you are and how you operate. And, experimentation is encouraged. Try one out, see if it fits.
Right. Here's where it truly gets interesting, because our source offers several really powerful and distinct budgeting methods. And like you said, you don't have to pick just one for life. You might even combine elements from different ones. But finding what truly resonates with your approach to money is absolutely key to long-term success. So let's break down these different systems. What are our options?
Okay, let's dive in. The first one mentioned is zero-based budgeting. This method operates on a very simple yet incredibly powerful principle. Every single dollar you earn is assigned a specific job. Whether it's for expenses, savings, or debt repayment, every dollar gets a task until your income minus your outflow equals zero. Nothing is left floating. Imagine at the start of the month, you literally give every dollar a name. This $500 for rent, this $400 for groceries, this $100 for fuel, this $200 for your retirement fund, this $50 for entertainment, and so on. It forces extreme intentionality, revealing exactly where any leftover money can and should go, preventing those stray dollars from simply disappearing into thin air, which happens so easily. This is really ideal for detail-oriented planners who like to have complete granular control over their money and see precisely where every single penny is allocated. It ensures no money is left unaccounted for.
That sounds like it requires a good amount of discipline and foresight, really putting you firmly in the driver's seat. Total control. What if someone is just starting out and wants something a bit simpler, maybe less granular, less intimidating?
Yeah, for beginners or those who just prefer a broader, less intensive approach, the 50-30-20 rule is a fantastic starting point. Super popular for a reason. This remarkably simple yet highly effective framework allocates your after-tax income into just three main categories. 50% for needs, things like housing, essential utility bills, basic groceries, minimum debt payments. Then 30% for wants, like dining out, entertainment, non-essential shopping, hobbies, vacation, the fun stuff. And finally, 20% for savings and debt repayment above the minimums, so building your emergency fund, contributing to retirement, or aggressively paying down high-interest debt. It's a simple, straightforward framework that provides clear guidelines without being overly granular or demanding. This makes it highly effective for getting started and maintaining a good balance, as our source highlights.
That's a great, easy-to-remember rule of thumb to keep in mind. Offers flexibility within a basic structure.
Nice.
What's another popular method the source talks about?
Then there's the classic envelope system, which was famously popularized by the financial expert Dave Ramsey. You might have heard of it. This method involves using physical cash. You actually withdraw cash and divide it into labeled envelopes for various spending categories like groceries, gas, entertainment, or personal care. Once the cash in a particular envelope is completely gone, spending in that specific category stops cold for the rest of the month. No cheating. It's excellent for building strong spending discipline, provides a highly tangible and immediate visual of your limits. You literally see the money dwindling. And it's particularly effective for those who tend to overspend when using credit cards or digital payments, where the money feels less real. It makes your money feel real again, and when it's gone, it's truly gone.
So it's a very visceral and immediate way to see your spending limits. I can definitely see how that would make you think twice before reaching for that extra impulse buy. Makes it tangible.
Precisely. Very effective for some people. Next up, we have pay yourself first. This strategy is all about prioritizing savings and investment above absolutely everything else. It's the #1 priority. As soon as you receive your income, even before you pay any bills or indulge in any wants, you immediately allocate a predetermined amount of money to your most important financial goals. Whether that's your retirement fund, a down payment for a house, or building your emergency fund, that money goes out first. Only after you've paid yourself do you then spend the remainder on your needs and wants. This ensures your savings are always a priority, never just an afterthought or simply whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month, if anything. It guarantees consistent progress toward your future.
That's a powerful psychological trick, isn't it? Ensuring your future self is always taken care of first, no matter what. I like that. And the final method, our source outlines.
The last method discussed is reverse budgeting. This approach essentially flips the traditional budgeting model on its head. Instead of meticulously tracking every single category, you start by defining your savings goals for the month, e.g., okay, I want to save $500 this month and pay an extra $100 on my credit card. That's your focus. You then immediately transfer those amounts to your savings and bet accounts. Done. The remaining money left in your checking account is what you have left to spend on all your needs and wants for the month, without needing strict category limits. You just spend what's left until it's gone. It's particularly useful for aggressive savers who have clear, ambitious financial targets and are comfortable adapting their spending around those non-negotiable savings goals. It encourages conscious spending from the remaining pool. And remember, the best method is truly the one you'll stick with consistently. It's perfectly okay, even encouraged, to experiment and adapt as your financial life evolves. What works for you today might need tweaking as your goals or income change.
Okay, so you've selected a method, maybe you're trying one out, you've got your goals defined, and you're ready to roll. But here's the perennial challenge, the thing everyone struggles with. How do you ensure it actually sticks? How do you maintain that consistency day after day, week after week? And what about those inevitable bumps in the road, the unexpected expenses or the moments of weakness where you just blow it? Our source provides some incredibly clever battle-tested tips here to ensure your budgeting journey is sustainable for the long haul.
Yeah, consistency is indeed the ongoing challenge for most people, but there are definitely proven strategies to make it feel more like second nature over time. First, automate everything you possibly can. Seriously, automation is your friend here. Set up automatic transfers to your savings accounts, your investment accounts, and for all your recurring bill payments, rent, utilities, car payment, etc. This removes the need for manual action, it reduces the likelihood of human error or just forgetting, and it ensures your money goes where it needs to effortlessly without you even thinking about it. Second, consider using multiple bank accounts. This is a great structural tip. Dedicate one specifically for your bills, another for everyday discretionary spending, like your fun money, and a separate one dedicated solely to savings. This compartmentalization makes it exponentially easier to track things, prevents accidental overspending from your precious savings accounts, and psychologically separates your funds into clear buckets.
Yeah, that makes the money feel like it's already gone to its specific purpose, almost untouchable for those impulse buys. Creates a mental barrier.
Exactly, it creates those mental boundaries. Third, review your budget weekly. Doesn't have to take long. A quick, maybe 15-minute check-in prevents small slip-ups from snowballing into major issues. It allows you to adjust course promptly if an unexpected expense pops up, and it just keeps you actively engaged with your financial plan. Stay connected to it. Fourth, start small. Please don't try to budget every single category perfectly right from day one. You'll just get overwhelmed and quit. Begin by focusing on maybe 2 or 3 major categories, perhaps housing, food, and transportation, and then gradually build out your budget as you gain confidence and familiarity with the process. Baby steps. Fifth, use visual trackers. This can be surprisingly motivating. Things like charts, graphs, those little thermometer diagrams you color in as you save, or budgeting apps that gamify your progress. They can be incredibly motivating, allowing you to literally see your savings grow and your debt shrink. It makes the abstract goal much more tangible and exciting.
I absolutely love that idea of gamification. It totally turns what feels like a chore into more of a challenge, something you want to win at. And then there's this concept you mentioned, sinking funds. That sounds intriguing, almost like a secret weapon for finances. Tell me more.
Yes. Sinking funds are truly the secret weapon for planned future expenses, and honestly, they are a game changer for financial peace of mind. Cannot recommend them enough. These are essentially mini savings accounts you create for specific irregular expenses that you know are coming down the pike, even if the exact date is uncertain. Think about things like car repairs, holiday gifts, annual vet visits, home maintenance, or those pesky annual insurance premiums that always seem to surprise you. For example, if your car insurance bill is, say, $600 every 6 months, instead of being hit with that lump sum and feeling totally stressed out, you simply save $100 per month in a dedicated sinking fund labeled car insurance. When the bill arrives, guess what? You're ready. Completely stress-free, with the money already sitting there allocated just for that purpose. This raises an important question for you, the listener. What irregular expenses sneak up on you every year, causing a sudden financial jolt or panic? Sinking funds, as our source meticulously describes, completely eliminate that stress and prevent you from having to tap into your main emergency fund, or, even worse, rely on a credit card to cover it. It transforms financial surprises into perfectly planned events.
That's brilliant. It really takes an unexpected expense and turns it into a perfectly planned, expected one. Genius. But even with all these amazing strategies, life happens. We're human, we mess up. How do you deal with those inevitable budgeting setbacks or those moments when you just completely veer off course?
Setbacks are a normal, even expected part of any journey, especially a financial one. Nobody's perfect. The absolute key is to respond, not react. Don't panic. If an unexpected expense arises, first, determine if it qualifies for your main emergency fund. Is it a true, unforeseen emergency? If yes, that's precisely what your fund is for. Use it. If you simply overspend in a particular category one month, take a moment, don't beat yourself up. Just identify the trigger. Was it emotional spending? A simple miscalculation? An irregular event you forgot to plan for with a sinking fund? Recognize that things like holidays or birthdays are not unexpected. They happen every year. They require planning, ideally through those sinking funds we just talked about. The crucial part is to then adjust next month's budget to compensate if needed, learn from the experience, forgive yourself quickly, this is important, and immediately recommit to the process. Don't let one slip up derail your entire effort and send you spiraling back into old habits. Just acknowledge it, learn from it, adjust, and move forward. Keep going.
Okay, so we've armed ourselves with a powerful, frugal mindset. We've got a practical budgeting roadmap in place. Fantastic foundation. Now let's talk about one of the biggest and often stealthiest budget busters for most of us: food. Groceries, dining out, all of it. Our source points out that it's frequently one of the largest monthly expenses, consuming a really significant chunk of our income. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. It's also the most flexible category. Unlike fixed costs like rent or car payments, food costs are something we actually have an immense amount of control over, day to day, week to week. But I suspect most of us don't really know how much we're truly spending on food, do we? It's kind of like a leaky faucet we don't realize is running constantly in the background.
You're absolutely right. Most people significantly, drastically underestimate their total food spending precisely because it's so fragmented and spread across countless different types of purchases. It's rarely just the big weekly grocery run that we consciously track or budget for. It's also the daily coffee on the way to work, the spontaneous snacks grabbed from the convenience store, the quick, convenient, but often expensive work lunches, the impulse takeout order on a tired evening, and the weekend dining out with friends or family. These individual costs rarely get tallied together in our minds, making food an invisible yet substantial drain on many household budgets. It just leaks out.
So if it's so diffuse and kind of hidden in plain sight, where do we even begin to truly understand this often overlooked expense? How do we get a grip on it?
The first step is absolutely crucial for regaining control. Non-negotiable, really. Track all food spending. For at least one full month, commit to 30 days, keep a meticulous, detailed log of every single dollar you spend on anything edible or drinkable. Don't leave anything out. Break it down into clear categories: groceries purchased at the supermarket, dining out at restaurants, coffee, tea, snacks bought on the go, lunches bought at work or school, and any takeout or delivery orders. Add it all up honestly at the end of the month. Our source suggests you might be genuinely shocked, and trust me, many people are, by how much more you're spending than you initially realize. This isn't about judgment or shame at all. It's purely about gaining unvarnished awareness and an accurate picture of your current reality. You need the facts.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be a powerful, perhaps even a bit painful wake-up call for some of us. Okay, once you have that raw, honest data, the total food spend number staring you in the face, what's the next step?
Step 2 is to identify the patterns. Once you have your total spending laid out, really delve into the data and look for recurring habits and trends. Be objective. Are you dining out 3 or more times a week, often unplanned? Is your grocery shopping done on a whim without a list, leading to unplanned and often expensive impulse purchases of items you don't truly need or even use? Do you find yourself buying food mainly when you're tired, stressed, or in a rush, resorting to those convenient but pricey options? Are you consistently throwing out spoiled food every single week because you bought too much or simply didn't plan how to use it before it went bad? This awareness, this power to see your actual habits laid bare, is the indispensable starting point for your strategic shift in food spending. You simply cannot change what you don't first acknowledge and truly understand.
Okay, let's unpack this foundational strategy now. Once we're aware of our habits, our weak spots, the source champions meal planning as the Frugal Food Foundation, the bedrock. It sounds deceptively simple, doesn't it? Something our grandmothers probably did without thinking twice. But the source argues it has profound, far-reaching benefits far beyond just saving money.
Oh, it truly is a foundational, transformative strategy that I honestly can't emphasize enough. It makes such a difference. And meal planning doesn't have to be complex or gourmet or incredibly time-consuming, but its benefits are immense and they compound rapidly. Firstly, it proactively prevents impulse grocery buys because you go to the store with a specific, intentional list based only on what you need for the meals you've planned. No more random stuff in the cart. Secondly, it dramatically reduces food waste because you're planning around what you'll actually eat before it has a chance to spoil. big money saver right there. Thirdly, it simplifies your shopping experience, making it faster and much more efficient. Get in, get out. Fourth, it actively promotes healthier eating because you have complete control over your ingredients and portion sizes when you plan and cook at home. And crucially, fifth, it significantly lowers the temptation for expensive takeout or dining out because you already have a delicious planned meal waiting for you at home when you're tired or hungry. The decision is already made. It really tackles multiple problems at once, creating this wonderful, virtuous cycle.
So it really hits a lot of birds with one stone, so to speak. Saves money, saves time, reduces waste, helps you eat healthier. Sounds amazing. For someone who's maybe never meal planned before or perhaps tried it and failed because it felt overwhelming, how does our source suggest they get started without feeling intimidated?
Yeah, it can feel daunting at first. Our source outlines a very simple, achievable process to ease into it. First, pick a consistent planning day. Once a week, Sunday afternoon is often popular, but whatever works for you to dedicate a focused block of time, maybe just 30 to 60 minutes, put it on your calendar. Second, before you plan anything, check your inventory first. Super important. Look in your fridge, freezer, and pantry to see what ingredients you already have on hand that need to be used up soon. Plan your first meals around those existing ingredients to reduce waste and maximize your current stock. Shop your kitchen first. Third, choose 5-7 simple, familiar meals that you know how to make relatively easily and that your family genuinely enjoys. Now is not the time to try 5 complex new recipes. Keep it simple initially. Fourth, create a strict shopping list based only on what you need for those planned meals and any essential staples you're genuinely out of. Stick to it rigorously at the store, no deviations. And finally, consider batch prep. This means dedicating a short time, perhaps right after your grocery trip, to do some prep work in advance. Chop veggies, marinate proteins, or pre-cook grains like rice or quinoa. This front-loads some effort but saves massive time and hassle during busy weeknights, making healthy home-cooked eating much more convenient and likely to happen.
Those are fantastic, really actionable starting points. Any pro tips the source offers for making meal planning even easier or more effective for long-term adherence? How do you stick with it?
Absolutely. Consistency is key. The source suggests you double recipes whenever possible. Cook once, eat twice, or thrice. You can then save half for lunch the next day, instantly transforming one cooking session into 2 meals, or freeze the other half for a future busy weeknight when you really don't feel like cooking. Essentially getting 2 or 3 meals for the effort of one. Huge time saver. Also, consider implementing theme nights like Meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Pasta Wednesday, or Stir Fry Friday. This simplifies the meal selection process each week and drastically reduces decision fatigue. What are we having tonight becomes easier to answer. And be creatively deliberate in how you repurpose ingredients. This is key for minimizing waste. For example, a simple roasted chicken on Sunday could effortlessly become chicken salad sandwiches for lunch on Monday. Then the leftover carcass could be used to make a flavorful homemade chicken stock or soup later in the week. This helps you actively see how one core ingredient or meal can effortlessly stretch into 2 or 3 distinct, delicious meals, saving both time and money and preventing perfectly good food from ending up in the bin.
That truly maximizes every single ingredient. Smart. Okay, here's where it truly gets captivating for me. Once you have your meal plan locked down, how do you conquer the grocery stare itself? Which, let's face it, can often feel like a minefield of temptations designed to make you spend more. How do you get through it without utterly busting your carefully planned budget? Our source provides some fantastic, incredibly actionable strategies, 8 of them in fact.
Yes, these 8 strategies are absolutely essential for translating your meal plan into tangible savings right there at the point of purchase. This is where the rubber meets the road. First, a golden rule, non-negotiable. Never shop without a list. Impulse buying is the absolute enemy of frugal food habits. A meticulously prepared list based on your meal plan keeps you focused, disciplined, and largely immune to all those clever marketing tricks and tempting displays. Stick to the list. Second, buy store brands. This is one of the easiest, quickest ways to save significant money. Store brands, or generic brands, are often identical in quality to the big-name brands, frequently even manufactured in the same factories, but can be 20–50% cheaper. That's a huge immediate saving for basically the same product. Don't pay for the fancy label.
Wow, 20–50%. That's a huge potential save right there for basically the same product. And it's something many people still overlook, feeling like maybe they're sacrificing quality if they don't buy the known brand.
Precisely. It's often just marketing. Third, compare unit prices. Always look at the price per ounce, per pound, or per item, which is usually displayed in smaller print on the shelf tag. Bigger packages are not always cheaper per unit, and the simple trick, but one that many people overlook, as our source points out, can reveal significant savings hidden in plain sight. Do the quick math. Fourth, shop sales strategically. Don't just buy something because it's on sale. Incorporate sales intelligently into your meal planning process. Stock up on pantry staples, non-perishables, or freezable items like meat or bread when they're on deep discount. And let the weekly sale flyers help guide your meal planning choices for the upcoming week. Plan around the sales.
So you're not just reacting passively to sales, you're proactively incorporating them into your larger strategy. Very smart. What else should we be doing at the store to save?
Fifth, use cashback and reward apps. There are many out there now. Apps like Ibotta, Fetch Rewards, Rakuten, Honey, and others can offer significant rebates, discounts, or points on your grocery purchases. It might seem like small amounts, but they add up over time, adding extra savings to your bottom line often without requiring much extra effort at checkout. Free money, basically. Sixth, avoid pre-cut or pre-made foods. This is a major convenience trap that costs a fortune. While incredibly tempting when you're in a rush, pre-shopped vegetables, pre-marinated meats, or those ready-made meal kits are almost always significantly more expensive than doing a little bit of chopping or mixing yourself at home. The cost of convenience here is substantial. Pay attention to it.
Oh yeah, that's such an easy trap to fall into when you're busy and just want to get dinner on the table quickly. The convenience factor is high.
It is, but it's a quick way to inflate your grocery bill unnecessarily. Seventh, buy in bulk, but only when it makes sense for you. Be strategic. Staples like rice, beans, pasta, oats, flour, certain frozen vegetables, and some cuts of meat, which you can portion out and freeze at home, are often excellent bulk buys that offer significant unit price savings. However, avoid buying bulk perishables like fresh produce unless you have an immediate, definite plan to use or freeze them quickly. Otherwise, they'll just spoil and go to waste, completely negating any savings and actually costing you money. And finally, eighth, use the freezer wisely. Your freezer is arguably one of your most powerful frugal allies in the kitchen. Use it to its full potential. Freeze bread before it goes stale. Chop and freeze fruit for smoothies. Blanch and freeze vegetables. Freeze fresh herbs in oil or water in ice cube trays. Freeze soups, stews, sauces, and of course leftovers. It significantly extends the life of your food and prevents costly waste. Maximize that freezer space.
Wow, just imagine how much you could save just by consistently applying these 8 simple steps during your weekly shop. That's got to be hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars a year redirected right back into your pocket or towards your goals. Incredible. So you've shopped smart, you got your ingredients back home. Now let's talk about turning those ingredients into delicious, budget-friendly meals, and crucially, how to avoid throwing food and your hard-earned money directly into the trash can. That waste part is key.
Absolutely. This is where the real magic of intentional living happens, right in your own kitchen. Cooking at home is unequivocally one of the most direct, impactful ways to save money, period. And it absolutely doesn't have to be gourmet or complex or super time-consuming. Keep it simple. Our source suggests a whole host of quick and cheap meal ideas that fit easily into a busy life. Think versatile stir-fries. They're perfect for using up whatever veggies and protein you happen to have on hand, served over inexpensive rice or noodles. So adaptable. Sheet pan meals are amazing. They offer minimal cleanup because everything cooks efficiently together on one single tray in the oven. Love those. Hearty soups and stews are excellent for using up leftover ingredients. They're incredibly freezer-friendly, and they often taste even better the next day as the flavors melt. And of course, simple pasta dishes or classic rice and beans are timeless, budget-friendly combos that are both inexpensive, filling, and highly adaptable to different flavors and additions. Staple meals for a reason.
Those sound simple enough for pretty much anyone to tackle, even if you have minimal cooking experience. What about making that cooking process even more efficient for a busy week? Batch cooking.
Yes, exactly. That's where batch cooking comes in as a huge time saver. The basic idea is to choose just 1 or 2 days a week, often a weekend afternoon, to cook larger quantities of food in advance. You then store these prepared meals or components, like cooked grains or roasted veggies, in single-serve containers in the fridge or freezer. Make sure to label and date everything clearly for easy tracking and rotation. Investing in versatile kitchen tools like a slow cooker or an Instant Pot can also make batch cooking incredibly effortless, allowing you to prepare large quantities of food with minimal active hands-on time while you do other things. It's all about optimizing your precious time and effort.
Smart. And once you've cooked, the very next step is absolutely crucial. As you mentioned, not letting that delicious food go to waste. Our source states a truly staggering statistic: households waste up to 30% of the food they buy. That's just an astonishing amount of money, literal cash just being thrown into the trash each and every week. Mind-boggling.
It is indeed a significant, often completely overlooked leak in most household budgets. It's equivalent to throwing away hundreds, if not thousands of dollars annually. It's crazy when you think about it that way. The source offers several highly effective strategies to drastically reduce this food waste. First, organize your fridge and pantry meticulously. Know what you have. Implement the first in, first out FIFO rule to ensure older items get used before newer ones. Store leftovers in clear containers so you can easily see them at a glance. Out of sight, out of mind is deadly here. And designate a specific use soon bin or shelf in your fridge for items that are approaching their expiration date so they get prioritized. Second, plan for intentional leftovers. Don't just hope you'll have some leftover food. Cook meals specifically designed to create extra portions for lunches the next day or perhaps another dinner later in the week. Treat leftovers as a planned resource.
So it's a very proactive approach to leftovers, treating them as a valuable resource rather than just an accidental afterthought. Makes sense. What about produce that's just on the verge of going bad? That happens all the time.
Yeah, that's a common one. Third strategy, preserve produce before it crosses the point of no return. Before fruit spoils completely, chop it up and freeze it immediately for use in smoothies later. Pickle or ferment vegetables like cucumbers or cabbage to extend their shelf life significantly and add new, interesting flavors to your meals. Use wilting greens like spinach or kale in soups, sautés, frittatas, or blend them into smoothies rather than just tossing them in the bin. Get creative. This truly raises an important, self-reflective question for you. How much money are you literally throwing into the trash each week without even realizing it? Our source suggests it could be substantial for many families. And finally, fourth, even if food is past saving for human consumption, consider composting scraps if you have the ability. This prevents organic waste from going to landfills, which has significant environmental benefits and can create nutrient-rich soil for gardening. Every action, even in waste management, contributes to a more frugal, sustainable lifestyle. It all connects.
Okay, fantastic. So you've mastered smart shopping, you're cooking delicious meals at home, you're minimizing waste like a pro, doing great. But what about those times you do want to enjoy a meal out with friends or grab that seemingly innocent morning coffee run on the way to work? Life happens. Our source is very clear. You don't have to cut them out entirely. Frugality isn't about total deprivation. It's about being strategic and intentional with your choices.
Precisely. Frugality is all about making conscious choices that align with your values and goals, not about blanket deprivation or misery. You can still enjoy life. When it comes to dining out without busting your budget, the first step is to set a strict, realistic dining out budget each month and then actually commit to sticking to it. Track it. Second, consider going out during lunch hours, as prices for similar dishes are typically significantly lower than dinner menus at many restaurants. Same food, lower price. Third, proactively share meals if portions are large, or consciously skip the extras like expensive appetizers you don't really need, fancy cocktails or sodas, or decadent desserts. Simply drinking water instead of ordering drinks can save a significant amount on your final bill. Small changes add up. Fourth, use coupons, deals, and loyalty programs. Look for local coupons online or in mailers, check for happy hour specials, or sign up for restaurant loyalty programs that offer rewards, points, or birthday freebies. Be savvy about it. And fifth, and perhaps most importantly, make dining out an occasional treat a true celebration or reward, rather than just a routine, mindless habit you fall into out of convenience. Savor the experience when you do go, make it feel special.
Yeah, it's about savoring the experience, valuing it as a genuine treat, not just mindlessly spending because you don't feel like cooking. That makes sense. And then there are beverages. Oh boy, the hidden cost that really, really sneaks up on us. Coffee, soda, alcohol.
Oh, beverages are such an insidious budget drain. They add up incredibly fast and often silently without us really noticing the cumulative impact. That daily coffee run, those sugary sodas grabbed throughout the day, and regular alcohol consumption can quickly become huge, almost invisible expenses sucking money away. Our source includes a truly stark calculation here that's worth repeating. A daily $5 coffee habit, which seems relatively small in isolation, actually costs $1,300 annually. $1,300. Think about that. That's a fantastic vacation, a significant dent knocked out of credit card debt, or a really solid contribution towards your emergency fund, just from coffee. Our source suggests cutting these costs dramatically by simply brewing your coffee at home. It tastes just as good, often better, and costs pennies per cup. Other practical tips include carrying a reusable water bottle everywhere you go to avoid buying bottled water or sodas, making your own smoothies or juices at home instead of buying expensive ones, and consciously reducing your soda and alcohol consumption, which benefits both your wallet and your health. These seemingly small daily choices, when accumulated and compounded over a year, can free up substantial funds for other, more meaningful goals that align with your why. It's all about making conscious choices, prioritizing experiences and your long-term goals over fleeting convenience, and recognizing the cumulative, powerful impact of those seemingly small daily expenses. They matter. Hashtag tech outro.
Wow, what an incredibly rich deep dive we've had today. We've covered so much ground, truly laying a comprehensive foundation for a more intentional, financially free life. It feels empowering. We started by completely redefining what frugality actually means, moving beyond just thinking about low cost to a focus on maximizing long-term value and aligning our spending with our deepest values. Huge shift. We explored those surprising 4 dimensions of freedom. It unlocks financial, time, emotional, and even environmental liberation. It's about more than money. We then peeled back the layers of our own psychology, didn't we? Uncovering those human instincts and cognitive biases that often, unconsciously, work against our best-saving efforts. Fascinating stuff. From there, we laid out those 5 actionable steps to powerfully shift your mindset, from defining your compelling why to surrounding yourself with a supportive, like-minded community.
And we didn't stop there, did we? We transitioned smoothly into the indispensable practical roadmap of budgeting, demystifying it from a dreaded chore into an empowering tool for control. We detailed that step-by-step guide to creating a budget that genuinely sticks. We introduced you to 5 effective, flexible budgeting methods, from zero-based for the detail-oriented to the simple 5D30-20 rule for beginners. And we gave you crucial tips for consistency, including that powerful secret weapon of using sinking funds to plan for irregular expenses. Game changer. And finally, we tackled one of the biggest budget busters, food, head-on. With actionable strategies for uncovering your true spending habits, mastering the art of meal planning, deploying smart grocery shopping tactics, embracing efficient home cooking, drastically reducing food waste, and even how to strategically enjoy dining out and adopt frugal beverage habits without feeling deprived. If we connect all this back to the bigger picture, what we've really explored today is laying a robust, interconnected system for sustainable, positive change in your financial life. These aren't just isolated tips you try once. They're integrated principles designed to give you clarity, confidence, and ultimately control over your resources and your future.
Absolutely. And remember, this journey into frugality is exactly that. It's a journey, not some rigid one-time destination you arrive at and you're done. You absolutely don't have to implement everything we discussed today all at once. That would be overwhelming. The beauty of this deep dive and the power it puts in your hands is that you can pick just 1 or 2 strategies from today's extensive conversation that really resonated most deeply with you and simply start right there. Maybe it's tracking your food spending for the next 30 days just to see what's really going on. Or maybe starting one small sinking fund for that irregular car insurance payment. Or perhaps it's just practicing that crucial pause before your next potential impulse purchase. Small steps.
Yeah, this raises an important, deeply personal question for you, our dedicated listener, to take away today. What's the first small, intentional change you can commit to making this week, right now? What's one thing that will genuinely bring you closer to that profound sense of financial freedom, emotional peace, and intentional abundance we've explored today? What is that one step that feels achievable and maybe even a little exciting right now?
The deep dive often likes to leave you with something thought-provoking to ponder, something to mull over, and today's is this. If frugality isn't actually about having less or about deprivation, but rather about consciously making space in your life, space for more freedom, more peace, and a clearer sense of purpose, then perhaps the truly rich life isn't ultimately defined by what you acquire or possess, but maybe, just maybe, by what you deliberately choose not to spend and the incredibly intentional, fulfilling life you painstakingly build instead.
And maybe consider this too. Perhaps your most valuable assets aren't merely the numbers in your bank account, but rather reside in your deliberate choices and the profoundly liberating life those choices consistently create for you day by day.